I blamed my wife's looks as the reason why I cheated and called her a hag. Now I'm getting my greatest punishment because another man has taken my position as her husband. Please, before you cheat on your husband/wife/partner, think about what you are giving up for few minutes of pleasure. I married my wife Annie about 13 years ago. We dated for 3 years and tied the knot. Our marriage was great. We were really happy. Suddenly she becomes pregnant. I know it is kinda our fault because we didn't use protection every time. We decided to keep the baby and our son was born. I thought our family was complete. But things drastically changed. My wife was always busy with our son. She used to be this fit girl who was always radiant. But she just looked like a zombie to me. She didn't care about how she looked while she was in public. I started feel resentment towards her. Before I did anything stupid, I talked to her and gave her an ultimatum that if she doesn't go back her normal shape I would leave her. She started crying and saying that she is always exhausted and don't have time. I told her I would help her as much as I can, but looking back now I did the bare minimum. The trouble came when she was again pregnant after 5 years. All the hard work she has done was down the drain. She gained a lot of weight. I avoided her. Just looking at her made me sick. I was either at the gym or at the bar. I was looking for excuses to not come home. That's when I met a girl at my gym. She was hot and had a nice body. She was also very much younger than I was, 20F. We started talking. I felt alive again. I felt like someone is here in front of me who appreciates me a lot. Few days later, I went to her house and we hooked up. It was like a drug to me. I didn't realize that I was becoming more and more distant with my family. So, just like every cheater, I got caught. My wife found out that I was hooking up with someone else. She broke down in tears right in front of me. She kept repeating, "How could you do this to me? You broke our family." At that time, I did something bad. I am still ashamed of it. I yelled at her and called her a hag. I told her if she looked after herself I wouldn't have cheated. That it is all her fault. My wife started laughing. It confused me. She said if I helped her, she might have had the time. I was never home and outside effing some random girl. She told me she wanted a divorce right there. I was really hateful towards her and said, "Fine, you can, but you really think any man would ever want you with your baggage?" My kids. I could see it broke her and crushed her. I wanted that at that time. The divorce was settled. She only wanted the house. We shared the custody of the kids. The divorce felt a relief. I could be with my girlfriend whenever I wanted. But that is when I saw the changes. Whenever I was home, the house was not clean. There would be dishes in the sink for days. I remember looking at them and calling Annie, but Annie didn't live in my house. It became tougher when it was my weekend to have the kids. I realized I knew jack shit about my kids. My son was a picky eater. My daughter was still very little. She would cry a lot. It was exhausting. No matter how much I try, my son would have complained about everything and tell me that's not how his mother did it. That wasn't the end of the problems. Things with my girlfriend became bland way too soon. My wife would always have a home-cooked meal ready for me. But my girlfriend is just happy to have leftover or frozen pizza for all she cares. I was sick of it. Intimacy life was also very boring. My ex-wife was really great at intimacy. I never had any bad intimate experience with her. But my girlfriend lacked imagination. Also, she has really one-dimensional personality. My son really picked on things. He started resenting me. He was rude towards my girlfriend. My girlfriend would abuse him by calling him a brat. The last straw was when my son yelled at me and said that he hated me and my girlfriend would never be his mommy. It struck me like a thunder. Things ended with her right there. On the other hand, Annie started to change a lot. She lost a lot of weight. She looked relaxed and like her old self. I once complimented her that she looked good. I only got a cold "thank you" back. I got to know from a mutual friend of ours that she would sometimes say that the divorce made her realize she deserved better. And things got better because she had some time for herself. Before that she had to clean up my mess and now there is hardly any mess left. I was hit with another realization that I treated her badly. I never helped her when she needed my help the most. Annie understood me. She was kind and passionate. She was just going through a rough phase and I kicked her to the curb. I went into depression. I asked Annie if she could give me a chance. She said no. I don't blame her. For my son, I got to know she started dating an old friend of hers. My son loves him. My daughter calls him Dada. I tried my best for my daughter to call me that, but she didn't. I met them together at a business convention. That man had his arm around my Annie and was showing her off. I was angry. I felt this rage inside me. Later that night, I drank a lot and started to call Annie. I spewed nonsense that her new boy toy is nothing but a weak man that is dating a pathetic single mom like her. I know this because the next day she came to my house along with my parents. My parents ripped me apart and said to stay the hell away from Annie. I lost my kids. My wife and I already lost my parents after the divorce. I never felt so alone. I wake on my bed empty. Annie would always cuddle me early in the morning. I missed her warmth. Things between my son didn't improve. He probably knows why me and his mother aren't together. Few months ago, Annie dropped a bomb. She said that she was pregnant. That was the moment I knew I lost her forever. From that moment, whenever I went to her house to get my kids, I would see how her boyfriend basically worships her and takes care of her needs. If I wasn't so stupid or arrogant and helped her, cherished her, we would still be a happy family. I guess this is my punishment. I have to see another man play family with my Annie and kids. So, please, don't be like me. If you really cannot, just divorce or break up with that person. I have hurt a lot of people because of my selfishness. Update, but I know I effed up. I know I was an evil person for what I did. This will always have a huge hole in my heart. I know I have to carry this guilt throughout my life. But to those who said I should get some help, I did. I've been going to therapy for a long time now. Therapy has helped me a lot. It made me a bit lighter. But still I had guilt and shame in my heart. I know I cannot go back in time and fix anything. But I am now trying my best so that I can be a better person than I was few years ago. The first thing I did was beg for forgiveness from Annie. I told her I knew I was an asshole. She didn't deserve the way I treated her. She is a kind and sweet person. She always has been. And this is my life's biggest regret, that I treated her so horrible, and all I want now is to be a good father to her son. And I wished her and her new family good luck. I know she picked a better man and I hope she gets everything she deserves. She said she forgives me, but she doesn't want any kind of relationship with, unless of course it is about the kids. I also sat down my son and said sorry to him too. I am an idiot that I didn't realize this whole thing put him and his sister in a weird position. I told both of them sorry individually. My son is still on the fence if he wants to forgive, but I try to be a better dad for them. I now understand I may never have the same kind of relationship with him, but I just want to do my duties as a father. I do not want them to become like me. Whenever they come to my place, I try to be more attentive towards them. My daughter does call me Papa now. I take them to get some ice cream or simply just on a fishing trip. My son likes to draw. I got him some art supplies. I know this will not buy me his love, but I want him to have everything. He has been a little more open towards me. He sometimes asks for my help with his homework. Annie and I also decided that we should take our kids to therapy. They have been through a lot because of me, and I accept the responsibility of the fallout. Lastly, I am not thinking about dating anyone. I know I do not deserve love in any shape or form. Moreover, I do not want to include a new person in my already messed up life. Maybe in few years, but not now. Right now I just want to focus on my kids. Thanks to all of you who gave me some advice. It helped, and thanks for listening.